I told Rocky Alden, I said, one of these days, Rocky, I'm going to be the athletic director at Mizzou. That's my dream job. That is a fact. That happened back in 1991.
And Mike Alden knew what he was talking about. Just 7 years later, in 1998, he became athletic director at the University of Missouri, a tenure that has lasted for 17 years and will last through the month of August this year. But then that's it. Alden today officially announced his resignation as Mizzou athletic director, again official the end of the month of August. Hello everyone, I'm Chris Trevino, live in KOMU8 TV. And for more on this developing story, let's go live to the MU campus where KOMU8's Tyler Griever joins us from the Reynolds Alumni Center with what Alden had to say. Tyler?
Well, Chris, Mike Alden addressed his upbringing as well as the past, present, and future state of Missouri athletics in his press conference today. Alden is the second longest tenured athletic director in the history of the University of Missouri. He and others addressed a crowd filled with current Missouri coaches, administration, and former student athletes. Alden says Mizzou athletics has come a long way, and Chancellor Lofton says he does not have a replacement immediately in mind.
We believe this is the perfect job, for perfect time, and the perfect opportunity for the University of Missouri athletic program going forward. Think about what we have to be able to sell out there. Think about that job now that we have a chance to be able to portray to the country. This is one of the best athletic departments in the country, one of the best athletic director jobs in America.
We want to get stability assured to our coaches, our athletes, and our university. I will lead the process myself. I'm still thinking about using a search firm. I've done that in the past. That may be an answer this time, but I haven't made that decision yet.
Now, Alden referenced the transformation of Mizzou athletics. You can see that in how Mizzou has been branded nationally. Take a look here. It used to be known by this Block M logo, but eventually it transitioned over to the Tiger logo to enhance Mizzou's national brand. But Mike Alden has had a legacy filled with success and controversy in his time as Missouri athletic director. When discussing the successes, you could start with hiring Gary Pinkel in 2000. Obviously, Pinkel has become the winningest coach in Mizzou football history. He's also led the Tigers to 5 conference divisional titles and 10 bowl game appearances. Then go to the move to the SEC. Missouri left the Big 12 to go to the SEC, and they've had success since then with a conference volleyball championship and back-to-back SEC East Division titles in football, as well as an increase in revenue from when they were in the Big 12 to move into the SEC. And finally, speaking of money, how about the athletic budget increase? When Alden entered as athletic director, that athletic budget was at about $14 million. Now it's at about $85 million. Now, in terms of the controversy surrounding some of Alden's time as athletic director, you would have to start with the Sasha Manu Corey case, in which an independent counsel found that Missouri did not follow Title IX protocols. Then move on to the basketball coaches Mike Alden has hired. He's hired 4 in his time here, 2 of them being very controversial, and Quinn Snyder, who was included in 17 allegations from the NCAA, which eventually led to a 3-year probation for the basketball program, as well as his resignation as basketball head coach, and then the hiring of Frank Haith after Mike Anderson left, who had his own allegations from the NCAA, and Haith ultimately left for Tulsa. Moving on to the legal incidents that happened with student athletes during Alden's time, there were a few notable ones in the cases of Derek Washington, Michael Dixon, Dorial Green Beckham, and even Zach Price that must be mentioned. Alden did address those today, saying that MU has gone through its obstacles and challenges, but they've also learned and grown from them. Now, as we mentioned earlier, Alden and Lofton both said there is not a replacement immediately in mind, but what is apparent is there is a long legacy to follow. Reporting live from the Reynolds Alumni Center, Tyler Griever, KOMU8 News.
Okay, Tyler, thank you very much. A lot happens in 17 years, doesn't it? And now Chancellor Lofton will hire Missouri's next athletic director. Lofton, just finishing up his first full year on the job, has a big hire to make. That's coming in the next few months. We've got a lot more on this story throughout the day here on KOMU TV8, but now Chris Trevino reporting live in the studio at noon.
All right, we want to thank our sports team, Chris Trevino, Tyler Griever. Moving along, the city announced today they saved a lot of money. Good afternoon, I'm Christian Bryant, and they did so by trying to make the city more like a family. KOMU8's Michael Dowden is in the studio to tell us exactly how the city saved all that cash.
Well, Mayor Bob McDavid and City Manager Mike Mathis were practically beaming today because of an idea they had 3 years ago, saved the city $4 million. The idea is simple: give incentives for savings. Traditionally, government agencies spend all their money they're given because if they don't, the money is taken away. But the mayors and the city manager felt the process should be more like a family. When a family comes in under budget, that means more discretionary income for things like movies, toys, dinners, or savings. Well, the same can be said for the government, but instead of spending money on movies, they spend it on things like better roads and parks. This plan has led to a version of a do-it-yourself mentality by places like the fire department to save money.
They remodeled Station 2 on their own. They didn't hire out the work. The shifts did that work, flooring, patching, painting, and that one choice saved at least $5,000.
This saved money will only be used for one-time expenses because you cannot count on the revenue to be there year after year.
This morning, a man pleaded guilty to a drug charge in Boone County Court. Martrell Smith was sentenced to 7 years in prison. He was originally charged with murder in connection with the January 2014 killing of Dante Tolston. In January of last year, the Columbia Police Department said a woman found Tolston on the floor of a Newton Drive residence with a gunshot wound. He later died at the hospital the next morning. Randolph County Sheriff's deputies announced today a man is dead and another injured in a fire last night in Higbee. When firefighters arrived on the scene, they found a detached garage engulfed in flames. Witnesses at the scene say the men were working on an automotive gas tank when the fire started. 55-year-old Mike Farmer of Moberly died in the fire, and 61-year-old Mike Colston was injured and life-threatened to University Hospital, where he was listed in good condition. Investigators don't know how much monetary damage was caused. The university employees are required to complete online training courses on harassment and reporting harassment. The original deadline was today, but because of technical problems, the deadline has been extended 2 months. John Fougere of the University of Missouri System says as of yesterday, only 60% of MU staff and 52% of MU faculty had completed the harassment training, and only 44% of MU staff and 38% of MU faculty had completed the other training program. John Fougere says the Title IX training comes at a time when sexual misconduct is increasingly a problem across college campuses. Mitt Romney announced earlier today he will not make another run for president. The 2012 Republican nominee told supporters on a conference call Friday that he will not make a third bid for the presidency. NBC News reports that Romney told his supporters he wants to allow other party leaders to step forward. Romney had denied all through 2014 that he was mulling another run for president. But earlier this month, he told supporters at a closed-door meeting he was giving the idea serious thought. The founder of Death Row Records has been charged with murder. Marion Suge Knight was arrested early this morning on a murder charge in a fatal hit-and-run. Bail was set at $2 million. Knight turned himself in overnight. His attorney says the rap mogul accidentally ran over and killed a friend and injured another man as he fled attackers on Thursday. Boston Mayor Marty Walsh said he intended to crack down on people who didn't shovel their walks after the snowstorm, and that includes the U.S. Secretary of State John Kerry. City officials handed Kerry a $50 fine after they found the sidewalk outside of his mansion had not been cleared. Secretary Kerry was in Saudi Arabia at the funeral for King Abdullah with the president when the fine was issued. His spokesman said Kerry plans to pay the fine immediately. All right, we could be looking at a gloomy weekend. Let's send it over to Sydney with the forecast.
Thanks, Christian. Yes, we might. We have a little bit of rain and possibly a little bit of snow in store for us over the weekend. But let's go ahead and take a look at our current temperatures out there. A little cooler out today. 34 in Columbia, 33 over in Jefferson City, 31 in Moberly, 32 over in Mexico. Good news is lots of sunshine is in store for your Friday. Definitely want to break out those sunglasses today because sunshine is in store throughout the day, but that will change a little bit come Saturday for us. But today we're going to warm up right around 40 degrees. Still be a little chilly out there. Good news is not as windy, just a light wind coming from the north, 5 to 10 miles an hour. We have a little bit of rain in store for your Saturday and transitioning into snow on your Sunday. I'll have your 8-day forecast coming up in just a little bit.